Hello everyone, Amy here from Plastic Clever Schools. Today we're going to become plastic clever geographers. We're going to investigate the global problem of plastic pollution, and we'll explore how plastic travels, where it ends up, and how our actions here at school can affect places thousands of miles away. You will need your world maps, some sticky notes, and your best explorer skills. Let's start by looking at the items on screen, or the ones that your teacher has in their bag. We have things like a plastic bottle and a plastic straw on screen. Your teacher might have some different ones in class. I want you to discuss 2 questions with the person next to you, or as a whole class. What do you notice about these items? What are they made of? And where do you think they end up if they're not properly disposed of? Do they stay in the bin, or do they end up in the environment, like on a beach? Pause the video now and discuss. Great thinking, everyone. You may have noticed a few things. Firstly, they're made of plastic. And where do they go? Well, when they're littered or blow out of bins, rain washes them into drains. Drains then lead to rivers, and rivers flow into the ocean. But once plastic is in the ocean, does it stay in one place? The answer is no. It actually goes on a really long journey. This journey takes plastics items to something called a gyre. The ocean has a large system of circular currents formed by global wind patterns and the forces created by Earth's rotation. We call them gyres, and you can think of them like massive, slow-moving whirlpools in the ocean. Because our Earth is always spinning, ocean currents in the northern hemisphere, which is the top half of the Earth, tend to move in a clockwise direction, whereas in the southern hemisphere, which is the bottom half, they spin in the other direction, anti-clockwise. Because the water is constantly spinning in a circle, floating objects like plastic bottles and bags get pulled into the centre and trapped there. There are 5 major ocean gyres where this happens: the North Pacific Gyre, the South Pacific Gyre, the North Atlantic Gyre, the South Atlantic Gyre, and the Indian Ocean Gyre. The most famous gyre is the North Pacific Gyre, and it's been nicknamed the Great Pacific Garbage Patch because it has the highest concentration of plastic waste of all the gyres. To really understand how these currents move, you can watch this video from NASA called The Perpetual Ocean. This illustrates the movement of the oceans around the world. Watch this with your teacher, and then, using your world map, I want you to discuss which gyre is closest to where you live. Why might gyres trap plastic? Remember the spinning. And how far could a piece of plastic travel? Pause the video now and have a look at your map and answer these questions. Now that we know how plastic travels, let's see where it ends up. Plastic pollution affects different places around the globe in different ways. It's not just in the gyres. Plastic washes up on beaches, coral reefs, and riverbanks. We're going to do a bit of an investigation. So your teacher will split you into groups and give you sheets with pictures of different locations around the world on them. For each location you investigate, I want your group to first use your map to find where you think it is. Then, on a sticky note, write down the answers to 3 questions. Where is this location? Find the country or the ocean that it might be in. What problem is plastic causing there? Is it hurting animals? Is it spoiling a beach? Is it dangerous for people? And why might plastic pollution be worse in that location? Is it near a big city, or is it near a gyre? Once you have your answers, come up and stick your sticky note on the big class map that will be at the front. But we'll work through them one by one. Okay, image number 1. This looks like a beautiful tropical underwater paradise. But where in the world is it, and how could plastic be impacting it? And why is it worse here in particular? Pause the video now. Did you find it? This is the Great Barrier Reef in Australia. The problem here is that the barrier reef is an important ecosystem with loads of amazing corals and fish and other animals. Plastic can be really damaging through fish eating it or it getting tangled on delicate corals. And it's worse here because ocean currents carry plastic from all around the world to this amazing ecosystem. Okay, let's move to image number 2. Now this looks very cold and icy. Where could this image have been taken from? And why would plastic be here? This is the Arctic, specifically Arctic ice. Even though not many people live here, plastic travels from all around the world via the currents we talked about, and even by the wind, and gets trapped in the sea ice. When the ice melts, microplastics, which are tiny, tiny pieces of plastic, are released, which allows more plastic to be released into the Arctic Ocean. Okay, next up is image number 3. Now this looks like a huge soup of rubbish floating in deep water, but where is this and how did it get so big? As you may have guessed based on what we covered earlier, this is the Pacific Ocean, specifically parts of the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. As we spoke about already, it's right in the middle of a gyre, and so it's worse here because the spinning currents trap millions of tons of floating plastic in one place. Okay, image number 4. This shows a river flowing through a very busy city. But where is this river and what is happening with the plastic? This is the River Ganges in India. It's a very long river that flows through some really busy cities with lots of people. And when a river is near lots of people, it means that more plastic waste can enter the water here and flow directly into the ocean. Okay, image number 5. A beautiful sandy beach covered with trees, but also covered in litter. Where do you think this is? And is the litter from the people on the beach? Or do you think it's from somewhere else? This is a beach in the Caribbean. And whilst some litter comes from the tourists, most of it washes up from the ocean. The ocean currents brings plastic from thousands of miles away and dumps it on these beautiful islands. And finally, image number 6. This might look familiar to some of us. It's actually a river that runs through a big capital city in the UK. Where is it? This is the River Thames in London. Similarly to the River Ganges, it flows through an area with lots of people living in it, which means that in the water we find plastic bottles, wet wipes, bags, and other pollution. This river actually flows into the North Sea, taking all of our rubbish with it. And this proves that plastic pollution starts right on our doorstep. Okay, fantastic work, everyone. You have mapped the journey of plastic from our homes to the furthest corners of the planet. Now, before we finish, let's think about the journey one last time. I want you to look at a map of your own country. Can you find where we are right now? Now try and identify some rivers. Can you find your local river? Trace it with your finger. Follow the flow of the river. Where does it go? Does it join a bigger river? Does it eventually link into the ocean? Then you can discuss in your groups, how could plastic from your school end up in the ocean, even if you live nowhere near it? And once it reaches the ocean currents, how could plastic from your country end up thousands of miles away? Try and think about what the flow could be. Pause here. Amazing work, everyone. You've all worked really hard as Plastic Clever geographers, and so to end, you're going to play a game called Pass the Bottle. In a minute, your teachers will get everyone to stand up and form a circle, and they will play some music, and whilst the music plays, pass a clean plastic bottle around the circle. When the music stops, the person holding the bottle has to answer one of these questions. What is one ocean gyre that you learned about today? Name a place that is affected by plastic pollution. What surprised you the most about plastic pollution today? And how might plastic travel all the way across the world? Have fun, everyone, and I hope you've enjoyed this Plastic Clever geography lesson. And remember, every piece of plastic we reduce here stops it from starting that long journey into our environment and into the ocean. So keep up your amazing work as a Plastic Clever school. Bye, everyone.